Howdy, YouTube friends. Alright, my goat is back in action. It's never been fully out of action. I kept using it even when it was all in pieces. So, I think it's about back to normal. See where to begin on this thing. When I first got the goat and I got brass scales with it, the black screws that came with the scales were not long enough, so they could be completely tightened down, but everything was still super floppy. So I ran the satin screws this whole time. So I don't know what the deal is with the black screws, but I went back to my satin screws. I finally torched and vice gripped the screws and got the stripped screws out. So I think it's the amount of thread lock on the new screws, and then the thread lock, if I can see, I don't know if you, it's kind of all whitish in there, if you can see that. So the old thread lock that I put in here, I went like a few weeks of my screws loosening up, because I wanted to kind of feel where I should have the screw tension for the best function of everything. So I would just tighten everything up and kept trying to remember, what it felt like at what tightness, and figured that out for a few weeks before I thread locked my screws. So I think it was the new thread lock and my old thread lock in here. It was just too tight and then stuck and then stripped. So then the other thing was I was doing this to replace my handles. So quite a while ago, I did a crush test. I clamped these with a clamp and had a dowel rod in there so that it had something to spread the handles. And it was fine after that, but it did feel different. So it ended up being like some welded rivets inside these layers here. Must have broke or something, but it still worked the whole time. So I was finally losing full grip strength because my handles would just keep going together. So it was all right for a long time, but then it finally got worse quickly all at once. So I was trying to replace the grips, the handle pieces, and while I was at it, I shipwrecked my brass, which I think looks really cool. And this is probably the only shipwreck tool in the whole world, maybe. Alright, so now I just left these black screws that I got in this side while doing this. I'm not gonna mess with them. I'm gonna leave them in there for now and just be happy that I'm back to functioning pretty much like normal. I'll have to see if my screws keep loosening up, which it was just the plier side that would do that. And so it's all back to normal. Not sure if I said the whole story. This kind of is feeling different, and it depends on what tension I'm at. Right now it's stuck, actually. I might have this side down here is like a D pin. The plier side is round. I might possibly not have that in the correct placement. I'm not sure. Yeah, it don't want to go like it should. It was doing that a minute ago, and then I messed with the screws, and it seemed to be okay then. Not sure what's going on with that. That should go a little further, but it doesn't feel like it wants to. All right, well, I have to get back about that, I think. There it almost goes. All right, well, possibly this is the end of the video for the moment. I'll mess with this. All right, I just barely loosened the screw. And it seems to be back to normal. So yeah, screw tension is a big, important thing on the goat. Too much or too little has a big effect. All right, thank you for watching.